Well, I'm back, everybody. Good to be back, and so much to discuss. We'll start with the situation in Russia, a failed coup attempt, which Vladimir Putin has survived. But to what end and with what long term impact, we just don't know. But let's go through what took place over the weekend. Incredible. The Wagner Group, everybody has their own way of pronouncing it, launched a coup attempt by sending tanks and troops towards the Russian capital of Moscow, hoping to overthrow Vladimir Putin and put in some kind of puppet leader, quite frankly. The mercenary group, the Wagner Group, is led by Yevgeny Prigozhin, formerly a close associate of Vladimir Putin's, sanctioned by the U.S. for his role in interfering in the 2016 and 2020 elections. And Prigozhin's alliance with Putin soured when he accused Putin, he accused the Russian defense minister of incompetence and betrayal, claiming that he had ordered attacks on Wagner's troops in Ukraine and elsewhere. The timeline, as far as we understand it, is that on Friday, June 23rd, Prigozhin threatened rebellion. Saturday, June 24th, very early, just hours later, 1 a.m. on Saturday, Vladimir Putin was briefed about the armed rebellion that was being threatened. By 7:30 a.m., the Wagner Group claimed control over Rostov military facilities and the airport. 2 hours later, the march towards Moscow began. 10 a.m., Vladimir Putin addressed Russia on television, calling the acts treasonous. And by that night, 8 p.m., Prigozhin, as far as we currently understand, halted the march on Moscow. The reports are that the coup attempt was foiled by the Belarusian president Lukashenko brokering a deal between Putin and Prigozhin, allowing Prigozhin to escape to Belarus in exchange for some kind of safe haven, presumably. Prigozhin's failed coup attempt also has shown shifting public opinion about him and the Wagner Group, and quite frankly, the ethical dilemmas of supporting or opposing coups based on who it is that is doing them. This is a critical aspect to the story. Prigozhin's coup attempt had mixed reactions among both Russians and the international community. When news broke of this, and in fact, I have some Ukrainian friends who, with tears in their eyes, wrote to me, and I could tell, even though they were texting, that they had tears in their eyes. They were happy about this. They welcomed it as a challenge to Vladimir Putin's, of course, authoritarian rule, and the idea that maybe there could be democratic change in Russia. Others condemned the coup attempt, saying it's reckless, it's a violent act, it threatens Russia's stability, it threatens Russian security. Even if the coup were to succeed, it does not set Russia and the Russian people up for really dramatically improved circumstances. There are those who say a coup is never justified, regardless of the regime that they are targeting, because coups undermine the rule of law. They undermine the will of the people. Others say, well, sometimes the rule of law and the will of the people has been undermined by the strong man who is in power already. And the coup might be the only way to actually get back on track. These are the various opinions that have come forward. One position is that it's okay to support coups if they are against undemocratically elected leaders. Can it be said that Putin was elected democratically? Well, he says he was. There's this ostensible democracy, but was it? Putin won his fourth presidential term with 77% of the vote in an election that was widely criticized by domestic and international observers for, to put it lightly, irregularities and violations. So is Putin actually democratically elected? Putin's main opponents were either barred from running or jailed, or even worse, Putin's critics were excluded from the vote on constitutional reforms, which allowed Putin to reset term limits and run for 2 more 6-year terms. That's not democracy, but does that mean we support a coup attempt? And then, of course, the other part of this is that Prigozhin himself, initially seen by some favorably as someone doing a good thing, worthy of the international left's support, and that very quickly came apart once more was learned about Prigozhin and Wagner Group's activities in different theaters around the world. So that is where things stand right now. As far as we know, there is not total transparency about news regarding exactly what is going on. But the broader and more forward-looking question, to which I just don't think we have an answer, if you Google what comes next in Russia, what happens next to Putin, you will find several dozen op-eds from the last 24 to 48 hours. No two agree about what is coming next, and in particular for Vladimir Putin. The most optimistic sort of blended scenario that I've seen put forth is that now, with the threat of the coup, but the coup having failed, Vladimir Putin may realize his days are numbered and will engineer some kind of face-saving exit from power to avoid being deposed or whatever. I just don't know that that's really the most likely scenario here. So that's the latest we have out of Russia as of this moment. We're going to continue following it. We'll probably have more for you tomorrow or the next day. If you've been getting crushed in the markets lately, like many people have, you were probably happy to hear that Treasury yields have been surging. Right now, you can get a 5% yield on Treasury bills, which is higher than most high-yield savings accounts I've seen. And unlike a high-yield savings account, Treasury bills are a fixed-rate asset, so you know what you're getting at the time of purchase, but buying U.S. Treasuries can be very complicated, or at least it was, because our sponsor, Public.com, lets you buy Treasury bills in seconds right from your phone and put your cash to work. Keep in mind that Treasury bills are government-backed securities considered one of the safest investments around. When you buy them on Public, they are securely stored at the Bank of New York Mellon, the world's largest custodian bank and security services company. Plus, there are no minimum hold periods or settlement delays. You can access funds anytime. If you keep it invested, Public will automatically roll over your investments at maturity, so you have one thing you don't have to think about. Go to public.com/Pacman to start getting that 5% yield on your cash. The link is down below.